privacy phone, you can touch it. So we flipped the model now, and the sign is becoming an RFID reader instead of a tag. Citizens will be issued passive RFID credit cards, tags, that they can walk around and they can touch their tag to a sign. When they do that, it uses a calling bridge and calls their cell phone and tells them what they touched. We can also deliver it via SMS or any other form of communication necessary. Total cost $0, riding on open source technology. Augmented reality. This is the next wave, we think, of bringing information all the way to the citizen. So putting raw data online is great, and what y'all did with Data SF is amazing. We're incredibly inspired by that. And this is the end result of some of those things, like with recovery.gov, the layer that they built in an augmented reality state, Sunlight Foundation did. Essentially what this does is you can use your phone based on your geographic location, and you can look around you and you can see where all the stimulus money went. And so if you launch it in Maine, you'll see those little blue dots. Because we didn't get anything. But this, we think, makes raw data very interactive for constituents. So right now we're putting all of our work orders in an augmented reality state where citizens can open an app on their phone and they can view everything that's going on around them. So instead of having to view this map, top down that has the incidents, they can get a real first-person perspective using their cell phone. So right now it'll be both iPhone and Android-based devices, but this is where we see the future of taking that raw data and making it really valuable to the constituents. A lot of information to throw at you. I wanted to just give you a picture of what we've done in Manor. And I always go back to that picture of the tumbleweed and our technology infrastructure. What we did in Manor is not unique. It's not something that happened by chance or coincidence. We didn't win the lottery. No one gave us $1 million to do all this stuff. We did it just because we had the drive to do it. It wasn't me, it wasn't Phil, it wasn't just our council. It was that we just pushed the envelope and we tried to do something that everyone said we couldn't do. And in doing that, we built all of this at nothing. Our total cost, I think, year to date is $38 a month that we pay to for all of our technology infrastructure. So it can be replicated to any city, to any agency, to any cubicle bay. And it starts with the mindset shift that has to happen. So in order to innovate, you have to see the value and the potential to innovate. That's part of the reason why we go around and we talk about innovation, because we know that if we can do it, everyone else can do it. Because we sat there 4 years ago without a server saying there's no way we're ever going to be able to do anything with technology. And here I am talking to the city of San Francisco about technology. So it's flipped the role of innovation in our mindset. So, but I thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, I'm hoping to answer them.
Got a quick question for you on the open coursework consortium. How do you ensure that they've actually watched a video to completion?
We're going through that now. Part of that's going to be having to create some way to verify on iTunes if they've downloaded a podcast course. So we're going to have to work with select universities for the time being, starting with Stanford, to where there'll actually be a link where they can download the course, and that ties it directly into our Manor Labs innovation system. So we can reward based on that.
That's great.
Where are you going to put the slides up?
SlideShare. SlideShare.net, Dustin Haisler.
Dustin Haisler.
Those initiatives that you mentioned beyond the initial idea platform that you showed in the beginning, did they evolve out of this platform, or did they come in addition to?
The 3-on-1 system evolved out of the platform. That was actually an idea that was implemented in someone had that graduated to the point where it became a solution. Some of the other R&D has just been strategic inside R&D at this point, where we see things going and where we'd like for them to be.
So the platform was like set up as free, like you said, because of options from the other vendors, like Google and all the applications out there.
Sure.
Okay, so how do you handle if that they decide to charge a fee for that service?
So, well, depending on what it is. So we have a strategic partnership with a number of entities to develop technology within Manor. And so we add value to them and they add value to our citizens as well. Typically, those are covered within the strategic partnership, so that way we don't get slapped, in year 2 with a hefty bill or something to that extent. We encourage the use of open source software because it's easier for us to take to another community. So, in fact, in August, we're doing an event with GovFresh in Manor that will be centered around applying these technologies to another city that's just like Manor. So it takes the unconference, which is a great type of conference. The users determine what the education will be, but we're going to actually apply everything to a real city as the conference goes on. So people can see that we're not just going to give them knowledge, we're going to give them execution, how it's done, and whether it can be done. So it'll be a unique experiment.
It's great. It's kind of seen it. I like the concept of idea of putting the citizen participation in the whole process, and then try to get the cost down to a fair minimum possible.
That's right. I mean, we're all struggling with costs, and we're all working on the same problems. We just have different scales. Manor's budget is like a penny compared to the city and county of San Francisco, but we have very similar issues that we're working on, addressing major budget cuts. And how do you do all of that? And how do you continue to innovate while you cut everything? So it's difficult, but we think collectively, and that's why our platform is completely open, because we know that people may not be able to go out and get an ideation platform, but they can use Manor's platform, and they can participate in Manor and see their ideas actually execute and become solutions.
You mentioned the newspaper. Was that the local newspaper that you published the leaders or the current game leaders?
Yes, that's our local newspaper. It's a weekly paper.
And how did you generate the overall participation, or how did you communicate the start of that campaign that you had running? And that's obviously ongoing right now. How did you get your
How do you build
Manor
engagement?
Participate?
So part of it is just by telling them that you're listening. So education is the key to innovation, not just giving them new ideas, but also educating them that you're listening. It's a mindset shift that has to happen in a lot of agencies. A lot of people see the government as the enemy, as someone that doesn't want to hear what they have to say, because historically we've always just put information up in a bulletin board format and expected them to be able to understand it. If they have questions, they can figure it out. So it's that shift that has to happen. So we started going to our civic organizations and into our schools and telling them, we want your ideas. We want, here's some examples. Here's how you do it. We'll walk you through it. If someone doesn't have a computer, we'll transcribe the idea for them on the platform. So we try to make it as easy as possible to appeal to a broad range of people and encourage them. It's an easy process. Innovation shouldn't look like that one diagram where it's all cloudy and complex. It should be simple. And the key is it should be fun. If the end users know and the citizens think that it's going to be more work for them, and if they get nothing out of it, aside from a warm, fuzzy feeling in their gut, they're not going to do it. It won't be sustainable. You have to have some mechanism of engagement. So education up front is the key, and throughout the campaign that we've done, just reoccurring education, telling them here's what we're doing, continually adapting the platform and customizing it. As more people come on, we have to adjust the graduation parameters. So we always educate them on this is how it works. This is how it works. There's nothing that we have to hide. It's a transparent process. Yes, sir.
Can you point to like any big accomplishments this is actually produced for you, or somebody really good idea?
Sure. Yeah, the 311 system was one. We had a citizen that said that they wished that we had an RSS feed for our work orders, and we had never even thought of that. We were still using just a proprietary system that was very closed and very expensive. And so we started